Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Prince Automation Destination. This side Prince. I hope you are doing well. So as part of our API automation series using REST Assured, we discussed about various components of REST API request, such as endpoint, method, and request headers in the previous lectures. In case you are not familiar with these components of REST API request, I would request you to please check out my previous videos, which I'll be sharing in icon. And in today's lecture, we will try to understand another important component of REST API request, that is parameters. So parameters are the variables that are passed to an API endpoint to provide a specific instruction for the API to process, right? So we have query param, we have path param, and then we have body param. So what is the purpose of query param and how we can pass query param? So query param is embedded within the URL, and the purpose is to get the specific result out of the response. So for example, if I'm hitting this particular endpoint, let us say we are getting all the bookings, right? And let us say we are interested in getting the booking for a specific date. So this is how we can provide this particular syntax. So we can add question mark at the end of endpoint, then we can provide key and value, right? So key is the name of parameter and this is the value of parameter, right? So by hitting this endpoint, what will happen is I will get the booking details for this particular booking date, right? Path param is used to specify a specific resource. For example, when we create a resource using post request, at that point of time, what happens is we get one ID, right? Now, if we want to perform different operations on that particular resource, which is just created, so we need to point to that particular booking ID. So how we can pass that booking ID? So we need to simply add this particular slash at the end of endpoint, and then we need to provide that particular booking ID. So the way we are providing the booking ID is passed with the help of path param. So booking ID will become path param because it will change for every booking ID. So whenever we are creating a resource and we want to perform operation to that particular resource, so we need to replace that booking ID at this particular place, right? So this is how we can utilize path param to specify a specific resource. Body param. Body param will come into the picture when we want to, for example, perform post operation to create the resource, put and patch operation to update the resource. At that point of time, we will be passing body, and body contains the parameter name and their values. So these values are known as variables, right? So these are the different components of, these are different parameters that we can pass to the REST API request, right? So let us try to understand one by one. So query param, also known as query strings. So this is one of the most widely asked interview question as well. What is the difference between query param and path param? Okay, so let us try to understand the same one by one. So query param, also known as query strings. These are the key value pairs added at the end of the URL post adding question mark. The first thing is we need to add question mark at the end of endpoint, and then we need to provide query parameters. Right? So it is used to provide additional information to the server, such as filtering details, sorting, or specifying certain data to be returned. So for example, if I hit this particular endpoint, I'll get all the bookings, but let us say we are interested in bookings of page 2, right? So this is how we can pass query parameter by providing question mark, and then we are passing page and equal to 2. But make sure this is the functionality implemented by the API server. Only then we will get the desired results. But this is how we can pass the query parameters, right? Now we can pass multiple query parameters as well. So for example, we want to get a response of page 2, but we want to get only 10 responses. And let us say by default on page 2, there are 50 responses, right? Or 50 bookings. So if we want to get the bookings of page 2, and along with that, we want only 10 bookings. So this is how we can use ampersand symbol between two query parameters, right? And what are the different use cases where we can utilize query parameters? We can use it for the filtering purpose as we used. We can use it for the sorting purpose. So for example, we want to sort it based on some parameter. At that point of time, we can use query parameter, and we can use it for the pagination purpose as well, right? As we used for the pagination, right? When we want to get the result of a particular page, right? So this is how we can utilize query parameters. Now let us take a real example. Okay, so for that purpose, I'll simply go to google.com, right? So by default, google.com has this particular URL, and let us search Prince automation destination here. So what will happen? Let us notice the change in the URL. So you see, this becomes the endpoint, and after that it added a question mark which indicates query parameter, and these are the value of, this is the key and this is value, right? And along with that it has added another key by inserting ampersand first, right? Then this is another key and this is another value. Okay, so this is how we can pass different query parameter with the help of question mark, right, and ampersand. Okay, now coming to path param, right? So path params, also known as path variables, are placeholders in the URL which can be replaced with the actual value during making the request, right? These are used to identify a specific resource. So in order to understand this path param, let us first create a booking, right, on the same URL that we discussed earlier. So this is create booking endpoint, and we are passing this particular request body. For example, first name is Prince, last name is Kumar, and total price is 111. Deposit paid is true, and this is the check-in date and checkout date, and additional details is breakfast. Okay, so we are passing body in the form of JSON. I'm hitting this particular endpoint. As a result, one booking will be created. So this is the booking ID, right? Now, for example, if I want to get this particular booking ID details, what I will do is I'll go to this get specific booking endpoint, and I'll provide this particular variable here, right? So the variable which I have provided here is the path parameter, right? So this is how we can utilize path parameter to specify a particular resource. So using this path parameter, we are specifying to a particular resource. And if you will notice, by default, Postman is showing only query parameters, right? So for example, if I'll provide question mark and let us say name equal to Prince, right? So it will show me this information, but it is not showing path params, right? So how to show path param? So for that purpose, what we need to do, we need to provide colon, and then we can provide the variable name, booking ID, and it will start showing path variable, right? Now what we can do is we can provide this particular value, whatever the value that we got from the create booking. Let us say we got 950, and let me go to this particular get specific booking, and here I can provide this particular thing, right? So if I'll hit this, I will get the response for this particular 950 booking ID, right? So I can either provide in this sense, or what I can do is I can simply remove this and I can directly provide 950 here itself. Okay, and if I'll hit it again, I'll again get the same response, right? So this is how we can populate the value for the path param, right? Now we discussed the concept of request body as well. So for post operation, right? So because we created the resource here, so at this point of time we need to pass body, right? So this contains different parameter and its names. So it could be today it is Prince, tomorrow it could be Prince1, right? Again it could be last name could be Kumar1, right? And total price, let us say, becomes 1111, right? So these are different variables, right? So if I'll hit this particular endpoint now, a new booking will be created with the latest details. So this is how we can pass request body, and these parameters are known as request parameters, right, or body parameters. So this is what I wanted to cover, guys, as part of current lecture. In the next lecture, we will try to understand another important component of REST API request, that is request authentications and authorizations. So thank you for watching. I would request you to please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you once again.